Okay, obviously great team win yesterday. Had a chance to obviously look at the film on the plane ride back. And then again this morning, a lot of good things on the tape, a lot of good individual performance. Really, good in all three phases. Really good job by the coaches and the players. Really felt like the game plans were put together well by the coaching staff and obviously, but it really comes down to what the players execute, and they did a great job. But there's still plenty of ways that we need to get better, and we will. Obviously got another tough division opponent this week. So that same dynamic of just played them a couple of weeks ago. So we need to lock down and know that they'll come in here with something to prove, and we need to focus on what we do. Just a couple personnel updates. I will tell you on Jordan Glasgow, we were able to get him back safely last night on a private charter. Just like our other guys, he is on the COVID reserve list, but just like our other guys, that we're really not going to give out any other information other than he's on the list. He's back here in Indy. He's doing well and he's safe. Also mentioned to you the injuries on Darius and Xavier. We'll continue to monitor those. They don't appear to be serious, but we'll monitor them during the week. But we're optimistic that they'll be fine. Okay, open it up for questions.
All right, Joel Erickson.
Frank, how much work did Quenton get at left tackle last week, and how much has he gotten just in the past?
He's taken some reps during scout team. That's really where it kind of started. Obviously, we noticed that he looked pretty good doing it. So we talked about the possibility of, this at the beginning of the week, we talked about the possibility of moving him out there. So later in the week, we, rather than just have him run some scout team reps, we did get him a couple reps with the first team at left tackle. We thought it seemed good, like AC was going to be able to go, but we weren't 100% sure. So we kind of kept Quenton in the mix. Still had confidence in Chaz, but Quenton's Quenton Nelson. So, and that spot is very important. So we knew that if we put him out there, he's the kind of player that would rise to the occasion. Looking at the tape of the handful of snaps that he got in there, looked good. His pass sets actually looked really good. Not surprising, but just knew that he would be up for the challenge.
How much time does he spend on scout?
Not a lot, actually. We'd rather have him not do anything on scout team, but because of injuries and stuff like that and roster considerations, you're always trying to have enough guys that your starters don't have to. Your starting offensive line doesn't have to take any reps on scout team, but the past 2 weeks, we've been down in numbers a little bit. So our starters, what they do is they just rotate in with it. And those guys, they love football, so they end up having fun with it. And grading each other. I don't even know everything they do, but they have fun with it. And it's a challenge to them, and it helps our team and it helps them get better.
All right, George Bremer.
Coach, a lot of focus rightfully on the interception from Kenny yesterday. I was wondering what you saw on the strip later in the game, and then also what is it about him that kind of makes him come up so consistently in big moments like that?
He practices like that. He's got that kind of ability and that knack. We got a lot of playmakers, in all three phases. Everybody has that ability, but Kenny just is consistent. Kenny consistently shows that in practice. And that's one of the things we talk about a lot, that, hey, you work hard at those kind of plays in practice and then they show up in the game. And not that we've seen that kind of catch in practice, because that's one of those once in a lifetime catches. But the strip attempts and stuff like that, that's something that he's masterful at. And you see that in practice all the time.
Jim Aiello.
Yeah, Frank, I was jokingly going to ask after watching Zach Pascal get a chip that if you guys considered him at left tackle yesterday, but he had a huge block and he's led your team or leads receivers in snaps. We don't ask you about him a lot. I was just wondering how important he's been to your team this year, both as, a run blocker, receiver, and if you could speak to why he leads your receivers in snaps this year.
Zach is just really the epitome of really what the horseshoe is all about. He's a great team player. He's really physically and mentally tough. He works really hard at it. He's played through a lot of stuff that he's had personally, as far as getting banged up here and there, and you just never know it. He just never talks about it. He just continues to play, and he's unbelievable. He's a really good football player. He's kind of our tough guy at receiver, but yet he's developed into a very reliable route runner and makes big plays for us. And he's unselfish. So man, am I glad we have him. I mean, he's been a very dependable player for us and a very important part of the success that we have.
Kevin Bowen.
Frank, if you had to narrow it down to maybe 2 or 3 things that Philip has impressed you the most in this entire season, what would those be?
That'd be hard. That's hard to answer because it's been an impressive year. Philip does so many things well. I think the thing that I respect the most is his accuracy and anticipation. I mean, for instance, on the long pass to TY on the touchdown pass, I mean, you guys saw it. I mean, we get pressure pretty quick. Guy comes off the edge. I don't think there's very many guys that get that throw off. He makes a slight shuffle movement to the right because he feels that he's got edge pressure, but he has to wait for TY to make the move on the safety, to break down the middle, and he can't wait any longer. So he just has to let it go and get it to the right spot. And he just has that knack. And so from a physical standpoint, it's his accuracy and anticipation. They're elite. They're as good as anybody. And then from the mental side of it, he's just a complete master of the game. The run game, pass game, screen game, the things that he sees out on the field before they happen in coverages and pressures. We'll be watching a film and we'll say, how did he know that was going to happen? I mean, we're sitting here as coaches watching the tape 50 times and he sees something or feels something out on the field and that nobody else felt except for him. So he's a special player like that.
And then with Glasgow, can you share if you feel like this is just something isolated and won't impact anyone else on the roster?
Yeah, right now, although the tests have been negative, the tests, all the tests the next day were negative. So at this point, it looks like that. But, with these virus things, you never know. But right now, it looks like it's isolated.
Mike Chappell.
Frank, as a coach, if you could draw up the season first quarter through fourth quarter, you want to be trending now. You want to be playing your best ball now. It appears you are. I mean, does it feel like you guys are Philip had the euro going up yesterday. Does it feel like that with this team?
It does. You're right. But I mean, we got a lot of the fourth quarter to go yet. So we only got the first quarter of the fourth quarter done. So we got a lot to prove starting this week against Houston. And we can't even for a second, you come off a game like we had yesterday and you can't ride the wave when things go bad. You got to put it past you. You got to do the same thing. So, but I do believe that, we have been preaching that and thinking that, and I believe seeing and experience what you're saying, Chap, in that I feel like we're getting better. I mean, I would venture to say that every team wants to be saying that and believing that. I do think that's actually happening with us. And I think the reason is because our players work hard. They work hard and they work hard for it themselves and for each other. And I believe that we as a team think that we have the personnel to do something, to make some noise. And there's a lot of belief and confidence and conviction about that. And no one wants to let the next guy down. So let's keep fighting to get better. And if we do that, then we should be playing our best football later in the year.
Quick follow-up, Frank. Into the first half, how much did you think about going for it?
Yeah, I was going for it when to be honest with you, it was I thought he was on the 1 yard line, and I looked into my eye, looked like it was the 1 yard line, and then we the official was holding the ball, and then there was someone, I don't remember who, someone said, I think the ball. I said, where is the ball? And he said, it's on the 2. And I said, oh, I thought it was on the 1. So when it was on the 2, not that that's a huge difference as far as percentages and stuff like that. It matters a little bit, but yeah, in my mind, I had a play that I was ready to call if it was on the 1 yard line that I felt confident that we would go with. But when it was on a 2, I felt like we did such a good job. Philip did such a good job on that drive of directing us down there. I just didn't want to walk away with any chance of having 0 points. So just thought to prove. And I think, here's an example, where I think if I recall, the chart was kind of 50-50 on the call, but, where I was just going to do what I thought was the prudent thing and just take the points at that stage in the game.
Thanks, Frank.
Mike Wells.
Well, Frank, I was going to ask you 2 questions. Chap just asked one about the 4th down one. But on that note, with your analytics, how quickly do you get that as far as the odds in that situation, considering time and distance left in the half?
Really quick. Guys up, John Park and George Lee are so fast on that stuff. And, they each have kind of their own different responsibility. John Park is more of the 4th down chart guy. And he's talking to me, and he and I are talking the whole drive. And I'll, like it might be 2nd down, and I'm saying, where's the go cutoff point, John? Where's the go cutoff point? Or if I'm not asking, he's telling me, and he's telling me kind of in soft undertones, so because there's other talk on the phones, and I'm saying Nick and I are talking about stuff. So he'll insert things, and we've just kind of developed a rhythm to the communication that is good. It's not always perfect, but those guys upstairs do a phenomenal job.
Then I want to ask you about Eberflus. Since he's been here, the players have talked about the charting of the loafs and everything like that. In your past with other coaching staffs that you've been a part of, is that normal that teams, the defensive coordinators keep some type of chart on hustle? Have you been privy to that type of stuff?
Not to the degree that we do it here. Never seen anything where the players, where there's an accountability on loafs at the level that we have it here. And I think what makes it work is the players believe it and see it. And we know there's tangible proof of that it works and that it matters. And the other neat thing for me is as the head coach is, as I'm talking to people during the week, whether it's, other coaches, on the field before a game, invariably every week I'm talking to somebody that says, man, your defense flies around. Man, your defense runs to the football. I mean, every week. I mean, that's just someone on the opposing coaching staff is going to go out of their way to walk over to me and say, man, really respect how hard your defense plays, how much they run to the ball. And I think that's a testament to our players, but I think also to Flus and the defensive coaching staff, for that accountability, that it's a group thing together.
Do you have an input on that as far as looking and say, hey, man, Darius didn't go hard there, that's a low for him, or do you give that? Are you kind of hands off and that's Flus and the position coaches deal?
Yeah, no, I'm looking at all the grades and, but all the grading is done by the position coach. I mean, Flus doesn't grade the loafs. I mean, the position coach grades the loafs. So now Flus can oversee them and, maybe a position coach might say to Flus, what do you think on this? And he'll give him his opinion, or obviously as the defensive coordinator, he could override it. And then as the head coach, I could too, but you trust your coaches, and we all know what the standard is. And everybody's clear what the standard is for a loaf. So there's usually not a whole lot of question on it.
Okay, we'll go 2 more. Zach Kiefer.
Right, going back to Philip, when you guys brought him in, it was viewed as a gamble. And I know from the inside, you guys don't think about that. You don't care about that. From the outside, a lot of money, old guy who came off an up and down season last year. And there were some moments this year where he struggled, and we've talked about those. Is any part of you, the way he's played the last couple of weeks, is it validating to you? I know you don't care about that stuff so much, but is it this was a bit of a gamble, and it was probably on you in a lot of ways because this was the quarterback you wanted. It's your offense, and you said you were going to throw the ball better in 2020. Has any part of you felt validated with the way Phillips played and the offense has played of late?
Well, you're right on both accounts. I mean, yeah. Has that thought gone through my mind? Yes, of course it has. I'm human. I try not to think of that, and I really don't think of it very much. I'm just happy for our team. I'm happy for Phillip. And yeah, I mean, obviously, he was the guy that I wanted, that Nick wanted, and that Chris wanted. At the end of the day, that was the three of us sat around and talked about it, and then we looked at all the options out there, and Phillip was the guy who all three of us wanted. And then really we just needed, obviously, Mr. Irsay to believe and to sign off and to support us, in that decision. And obviously Mr. Irsay was a huge Phillip Rivers fan before he ever got here. So that was not a hard conversation to have either. Mr. Irsay is always committed, to giving our team whatever we need to win a championship. And so when we had the discussion in the off season about Phillip Rivers, and he's going to be 39 years old and all that stuff, this was about, helping our football team get better. And Mr. Irsay is totally committed to that. And so early on in the year, when there was one or two, as I've heard Phillip refer to it, as a hiccup here, or one or two hiccups along the way for us as an offense, not for any one player. I didn't laugh, but there was never a doubt in my mind. There's never been a doubt in my mind of the kind of football Phillip Rivers is capable of playing and would play this year and has played. So I had that much confidence in him. So it wasn't a hard decision, last year. And yeah, you're putting your neck on the line for somebody, but okay, this is the kind of guy you want to put your neck on the line for.
A kind of guy that you think has another year in him?
I mean, the way he's playing right now, I mean, I don't see, we said it when we got him here. I mean, when he first came here, I said, Phillip is more than capable. If he wants, he's got multiple years of good football in him. I really believe that.
Jim Aiello.
Yeah, Frank, I think last week you talked about how nice it was to kind of get back to T.Y. Hilton having big games. But how important is it to you to have on film and to be hard to defend, where you have games where it's Mo Alley Cox, you have games where it's T.Y. Hilton, Zach Pascal, Trey Burton, Naeem Hines. How important is it for you that 13 games in the season, you have all those games on tape, and people kind of have to prepare for all those eventualities?
Yeah, it's really important. It's really important. Defenses are good. Defensive coaches are good. Defensive players are good. They're smart. They want to play your tendencies. They want to lock down on you. They want to try to take away what you do best. So you have to have a couple things. You have to have your playmaker guys like T.Y., who have been a big time playmaker for so many years. But that can't just be your only answer, because there are things that defenses can do to slow you down. And so to slow down a player, I should say. But if you have a good team or a good offensive unit, which I believe we do, then you spread the ball around. And we like doing that. We're not going to try to force it to T.Y. if they're going to double and triple team him. If they're going to roll the coverage to him all day, that's fine. We'll find ways to get him some touches, but we're not going to. If they're doing that, then there's some other big time openings. And we like to say this all the time in a meeting. We love our matchups. We love our matchups. And what we obviously mean when we say that is, if they're going to put 2 on T.Y., then that's good. Then we feel really good about the one-on-one matchups we have elsewhere.
I know that's always been a part of your offense, but I was wondering, I think you probably saw the numbers. It was last year, all the games the Colts have lost without T.Y. Hilton on the field. Was there maybe a bigger emphasis put on this in the last year or so of being able to deal with, an injury or a guy being out, that kind of thing?
Fair question. I don't think there was a bigger emphasis. Just, the emphasis is really for each one of us coaches and players to continue to get better, to be able to make those plays that T.Y. would make in a game, that if he's not out there, who's going to step up and make those plays? And, we've had that, and it hasn't always been the same guy. Marcus Johnson came in and made a couple big plays early in the year. Ashton made the one big play against the Bears. Obviously Pitt's gotten going. Zach's going to make his share of big plays, and so I think everybody in the offense, and Mo's come up big, and we get Trey Burton in the mix, and he's making some plays for us. In critical situations and third down and red zone, and utilizing him in that way. So that's just a credit to the players and them stepping up and continuing to improve their games.